Welcome to The Explainer, where we transform complex ideas into clear, engaging explainers. So, what if a 3,000-year-old code could literally map out your entire career? It sounds kind of out there, right? But stick with me. We're going to dive into something called the Qian Hexagram from the I Ching. And look, forget all the fortune-telling stuff you might be thinking of. We're treating this as a practical blueprint, a real-world strategic guide for your ambition, your growth, and for navigating all the twists and turns of your life. Okay, so at the very heart of this whole system is this one core idea. Heaven's movement is powerful and relentless. This is the big principle behind Qian. I want you to think of it as pure, creative, unstoppable energy. You know, like the engine that drives the entire universe. And what's so wild is that this ancient wisdom says that's the exact same fuel for your own ambition.
So let's get this straight. This hexagram, the Qian, it's made up of 6 solid, unbroken lines. And the most important thing to get is that this is not about predicting your future. It's a strategic guide to help you create it. See, each of those 6 lines represents a different stage in a journey, a step-by-step process for building influence and hitting your goals. It's basically a map for leadership.
But power isn't just about that raw, unstoppable energy we talked about. The text is super clear that real, lasting power is built on 4 virtues. First up, you've got Yuan. That's the spark, the initial idea. Then comes Heng. That's the flow when things are just clicking and progress feels effortless. Next is Li, which is all about creating harmony, a win-win for everyone involved. And finally, and this is the big one, you have Zhen, the strength of integrity that keeps you grounded. Because let's be real, without that last piece, all that growth is just a crisis waiting to happen.
All right, so this is where things get really cool. How do you take all this abstract energy and make it make sense? The I Ching does it with this incredible, powerful metaphor of a dragon. It uses the dragon's journey to walk us through the 6 stages of developing power and influence. This is where all that theory really comes to life as a story. So here it is, the whole path laid out for you. You start as the hidden dragon. The wisdom here is, don't act yet. This is you in your first year of a new job, right? You're learning, you're observing, you're building your foundation. From there, you move through the other stages, being seen, staying sharp, getting ready for that big career leap. And it all leads up to the flying dragon. That's you as a leader, totally at the peak of your game. Okay, so you've made it. You're the flying dragon. But let's get to the very top of that mountain, the pinnacle of the journey, because reaching the peak is not the end of the story. In fact, it leads to the most important lesson of all about what it really means to lead. And this is where you face a choice. It's the absolute razor's edge of success. On one hand, you can be the flying dragon. This is the wise leader who understands that real power comes from lifting others up. A perfect example is Emperor Wu of Han. He became great because he empowered his amazing generals. Their victories were his victories. But, on the other hand, you have the arrogant dragon. This is what happens when success sours into arrogance. You become isolated, you push people away, and it leads to total failure. Just look at the tragic downfall of the brilliant general Shang Yu. He became a victim of his own ego. And that brings us to this really stark, powerful warning from the text. The arrogant dragon is destined for regret. It's such a clear reminder, isn't it? If you have all this ambition, but you forget the humility, if you fly so high that you forget about being vigilant like you were in the earlier stages, you are setting yourself up for a massive fall. It's simple. Power without wisdom will always destroy itself.
But hold on, the story isn't over. It doesn't just leave you with a warning. The I Ching has one more piece of wisdom to offer. You can almost think of it as a hidden 7th stage. And honestly, it's the most profound and probably the most surprising part of the whole thing.
So get this. To see a group of dragons without a leader is auspicious. I know, that sounds totally backwards, doesn't it? I mean, how could having no leader possibly be a good thing? But this is presented as the absolute ultimate state of strength. It's about creating a system that's so resilient, a team that's so empowered, a culture that is so strong that it just doesn't need one single person at the top calling all the shots. It just works.
And what's so incredible is that this ancient 3,000-year-old idea is literally the engine behind some of the most modern, forward-thinking concepts we have today. You see it in corporate culture. Think about Google's 20% time, or how Netflix builds teams with tons of autonomy. In technology, it's the entire principle behind decentralized systems like the blockchain. And on a personal level, it's about you developing such a diverse skill set that you're not dependent on any single job or any single boss. The real legacy isn't to be the leader who can never be replaced. It's to build something that's so strong it thrives even after you're gone. So, in the end, what is all this? This 3,000-year-old text, it's not really just a story about mythical dragons, is it? It's a mirror for our own lives, for our own careers. It's asking you to look at your own journey and ask, which dragon am I right now? Are you the hidden dragon, quietly building your skills? Are you the vigilant one, navigating new successes? It's urging all of us to be powerful, for sure, but more importantly, to be wise. To remember that the greatest strength isn't found in being the one person in charge, but in empowering everyone around you.